Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Alicia Machado. A lot to get to tonight. We start with the deadly school shooting in Georgia. A 14-year-old is accused of shooting and killing 2 students and 2 teachers at their high school. And we are now learning the names of the victims. Take a look. 39-year-old Richard Aspinwall and 53-year-old Christina Irami were killed in the shooting. The 2 students who died were both 14 years old. Their names, Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angulo. Tonight, at least 9 others are hurt. It all happened at Apalachee High School in Winder, about an hour outside of Atlanta. ABC 10's Luke Clary is live in the studio with the latest. Luke.
Alicia, that shooter just 14 years old and a student at the school. He's been identified tonight, and investigators say he'll be charged with murder as an adult.
The terrifying scenes that are now all too familiar. Students pouring out of a school after a 14-year-old fellow student allegedly opened fire. State and federal law enforcement racing to Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia, northeast of Atlanta, just before 10:30 in the morning. Authorities identifying the victims as 2 14-year-old students and instructors, Richard Aspinwall and Christina Irami, offering condolences.
This is everybody's worst nightmare.
Georgia Governor Brian Kemp.
And I just want to offer my sincere condolences and our thoughts and prayers to the families that have lost loved ones.
Students were taken out to the football field. Gwendolyn Cook recording this video as she rushed to that football field to find her granddaughter along with hundreds of other frantic, terrified parents. Many had to run miles to get to their kids because of all of the roadblocks in the area. The 9 others who were injured, 8 students and 1 teacher, are expected to survive. The suspected shooter, identified as 14-year-old Colt Gray, used an assault-style rifle, authorities say. 2 school resource officers encountered him within minutes after a report of shots fired went out.
And when they interjected, or when this shooting began, they interacted with the shooter, Mr. Gray, and as soon as they made contact with him, he gave up immediately.
At a vigil Wednesday night, overwhelming emotions.
I feel like it's just a very healing thing for a lot of people being here and just be around people from the community.
Community members praying with the survivors, sharing their stories.
Once we heard banging at the door and the SWAT came to take us out, that's when I knew that it was serious and I could potentially lose my life. And I just started shaking and crying.
Families reunited after a traumatizing ordeal.
And the sheriff's office said that they had interviewed the teenage suspect after the FBI received tips in May of last year about online threats to commit a school shooting. The sheriff's office alerted local schools for continuing monitoring of the teen, but there was no probable cause for additional action, according to the FBI. Alicia?
Luke, thank you. Just a scary and tragic situation. And Governor Gavin Newsom and State Attorney General Rob Bonta have been pushing for gun control legislation, both reacting to today's news, another deadly day on a school campus.
Another striking and sad and tragic example of America's unique disease.
This is the only country in the world where we see this over and over and over and over again, and you're going to see it over and over and over and over again. Just God bless it doesn't happen to you or your community or your loved one because of the culture that we've created in this country.
Newsom has pushed for a 28th Amendment to the Constitution, placing new restrictions on gun ownership, including universal background checks, raising the federal minimum age to buy a gun to 21, and requiring a waiting period between buying a gun and taking possession. It would also ban the sale of assault weapons. School safety is top of mind for parents, educators, and students. On ABC 10 Plus, we are looking at how some states and districts are addressing concerns and important reminders for all. Just look for Back to School Addressing School Safety on the home screen. The app is free on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV.